Hi, I'm Bob Tapper, and I spent over 25 years in corporate real estate in California until I decided it was time for something completely different. Now I live in Portugal, and this podcast is here to help you do the same, covering everything from visas, housing, and insurance to culture and community, what day-to-day life is really like here. And through it all, one thing has always remained true: it's never too late, you're never too old. Be courageous and honor your passions. Welcome to Life Abroad in Portugal. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Life Abroad in Portugal. If you're just joining me, this podcast has recently shifted focus. For the last 5 years, it's been called Life Abroad, a documentary-style travel podcast that I started back in January of 2020 to chronicle my journey around the world, mainly in Europe. It was mostly a way to keep in touch with friends and family, keep them updated on my life and what things look like living out of a suitcase and discovering new places. But now things are different, and I've decided to settle down in Portugal. And after going through the process of applying for a D7 passive income visa here in Portugal, I realized that my story might be helpful to others trying to do the same thing. So I've rebranded the podcast to Life Abroad in Portugal, and now I'm diving into what it actually takes to move here, live here, and start fresh in this beautiful country. In the last episode, I talked about how this decision started, landing in Porto, feeling at home, and beginning the process. And now in this episode, it's time for the first of two big meetings in the visa journey. Let's get into it. So now is the time for the first of two big meetings in the D7 process, or it's more like the residency permit process, because that's really what we're going for here. The first one was the meeting with the VFS, and this is where you officially apply for the visa. And if all goes well, you're granted a 4-month visa that allows you to travel to Portugal and ideally get everything set up for your second big meeting, which is with AIMA. That's AIMA, which is basically Portugal's immigration authority. So let me just say this: I highly recommend hiring an immigration consultant to help with this whole process. My VFS appointment was a breeze because of the prep that we did together. But a week before the meeting, my consultant we had a Zoom call where we went through all the documents. Every single thing was double checked. So when that day came, I just walked in and I just felt fully prepared, no stress. The meeting itself was super smooth. I handed over all the paperwork that they asked for. Nothing was missing. I walked out feeling really, really good about it. And at the end, they told me it would take somewhere between 30 and 90 days to hear back. Now came the waiting game. I flew back to Portugal on March 1st. My 90-day tourist visa was still valid. I still had a couple weeks left on it. My lease had just started, so it made sense for me to head back and move in, get settled. But I had to be really careful with that day count because you don't want to exceed your 90 days. Didn't want to overstay my tourist visa. So once that 90th day hit, I actually left and I went to Albania. But it was nice to have that 2 weeks to move into my apartment because I could unpack from my suitcase that I had lived out of for 5 years. I totally unpacked everything. And then actually I bought a smaller carry-on bag that I wanted to take with me to Albania. Didn't need to carry my entire life anymore. I only needed enough for, 30 to 90 days. I didn't know how long I was going to need to be there until I heard that I was approved. But it was just really exciting to unpack everything and just feel like I was at home. But then I knew that I was going to have to leave shortly. So I did. Went to Albania and I hung out there, and 42 days after my appointment, I got the email that I was approved. Now, it was an incredible relief. I felt so good about it. 42 days, when they said between 30 and 90 days, 42 days is really pretty quick. I would like to think, and I don't know for sure, but I would like to think that maybe the consultant that I hired, because I was so prepared, I had everything just in the right order, I think that they might have helped in getting me approved sooner. I don't know. But anyway, I was approved. Huge relief. But I had one more step, and that was to mail the passport to the Portuguese embassy in Washington, D.C. Because the email that you get, actually, that's what it says. You've been approved. Now send us your passport so that we can put the visa inside your passport. So I hopped on another flight back to the U.S. When I landed, I went to the FedEx box and I had a FedEx envelope all filled out, put the passport right in the in the envelope and I mailed it right off to them. Sent it off. Less than a week later, I got it back. Visa stamped inside my passport. It was a 4-month visa to officially begin the next chapter. But here's where it gets even better. Inside the visa packet was a surprise. I had been pre-scheduled for my AIMA appointment in August. Now, for anyone who's gone through this process, you know how rare it is. AIMA is notoriously hard to get an appointment with them. They're very backlogged. They're very busy. Many people spend weeks, even months, refreshing the system, trying to book an appointment online. There's also another strategy where you call every day. I didn't have to do any of that. I was just all confirmed with my appointment, all ready to go. Man, how did that happen? I don't have any idea. But again, it might have been because I was so prepared for that VFS meeting. Hugely important to go there, knowing what you need, and being very prepared. I just know that I had that AIMA meeting set up in August. I was so incredibly grateful. And by mid-April, I was back in Porto, this time not as a tourist. And I returned to the apartment that I had leased, because now it was set up. I had those 2 weeks where I could get everything lined up for me. So I walked in feeling quite at home. And for the first time in over 5 years, I fully unpacked that carry-on suitcase as well. And man, I'm here. And it's mid-April. I have the AIMA appointment in August. So the only thing left to do was to just take one big deep breath, settle into this new life. And wow, it was a great feeling. And if you want to know how the second big meeting went, the meeting with AIMA, man, you're just going to have to tune in to the next episode. Hey, thanks for listening to Life Abroad in Portugal. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. I'd love to hear from you. Leave a quick review, tap some stars, or just reach out and say hello. You can also find more at lifeabroadinportugal.com, including details on my monthly meetups here in Porto and how to book a one-on-one consultation if you're planning to move. All the links are in the episode notes, and I really appreciate you being here.